Stop resisting!
I'm not resisting.
Get on the ground, now!
I haven't done anything.
Stop resisting!
Look, my hands.
Down! Get down!
I didn't do anything.
Officer Bowers shouted a command as his fist connected with William Jr.'s face. The punch was captured on multiple cameras: Bowers' own body camera, his partner's body camera, and cell phones held by witnesses standing 20 feet away. William Jr. wasn't resisting. The body cam footage would prove that. He was sitting in his car, hands visible, complying with every command. He was a 24-year-old black college student at Jacksonville University, studying criminal justice, ironically enough, with no criminal record, driving home from his campus job. And Officer Bowers, a white police officer with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, punched him in the face during a traffic stop for a broken taillight. February 15, 2025. A Friday evening that should have been routine. William was pulled over at 6:47 p.m. on University Boulevard North. By 6:52 p.m., he'd been punched, dragged from his vehicle, handcuffed face down on the pavement, and arrested for resisting arrest, despite never resisting. The body cam footage went viral within 48 hours. Over 3 million views. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump took the case. Protests erupted in Jacksonville. The Department of Justice was asked to investigate. And on April 3, 2025, the state attorney's office announced their decision. Officer Bowers would not face criminal charges. The body cam showed everything: the unnecessary escalation, the excessive force, the punch to the face, the violation of William's civil rights. None of it mattered. This is a story of how video evidence of police brutality led to absolutely nothing. How a young black man was assaulted by a police officer on camera, watched by millions, represented by one of America's most famous civil rights attorneys, and still got no justice. Before we dive deeper into this absolutely shocking story, I need you to do something. Drop a comment right now and tell me where you're watching from, your country, your state, wherever you are. And if you believe in holding authority figures accountable when they abuse their power, hit that subscribe button. William Jr. was 24 years old, a senior at Jacksonville University, majoring in criminal justice. The irony wasn't lost on him. He wanted to become a lawyer specializing in criminal defense, helping people navigate the justice system he was studying. February 15, 2025, was a Friday. William had just finished his shift at the university library, where he worked part-time to help pay tuition. It was 6:30 p.m., already getting dark, and he was tired. He had homework to finish and wanted to get home. He was driving his 2018 Honda Accord south on University Boulevard North, headed toward his apartment about 3 miles away. He wasn't speeding, wasn't weaving, wasn't on his phone, just driving home after a long week. At 6:47 p.m., blue lights flashed behind him. William's heart sank. He knew this feeling. Every black person in America knows this feeling. The sudden spike of anxiety when police lights appear in your rearview mirror. The immediate mental checklist: hands visible, movement slow, be polite, don't argue, survive the encounter. He pulled into a well-lit parking lot of a shopping center. Smart decision. Witnesses, cameras, public location. He turned off his engine, turned on his interior light, put both hands on the steering wheel at 10 and 2, and waited. Officer Bowers approached the driver's window. White male, approximately 35 years old, 8 years with Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. His body camera was activated and recording. License and registration. Bowers said, "No greeting, no explanation, just a demand." William kept his hands visible. "Yes, sir. My license is in my wallet in my back pocket, and my registration is in the glove compartment. I'm going to reach for them now, slowly." He'd been taught by his parents how to survive police encounters. Announce every movement. Keep hands visible. Be respectful. Don't give them any excuse. But Officer Bowers had already decided this stop would go differently. And what happened in the next 5 minutes would be captured on camera and change nothing. William handed his license and registration to Officer Bowers through the window. Bowers took them and examined the documents under his flashlight. Do you know why I pulled you over? No, sir, I don't. Your right taillight is out. That's a safety violation. William's taillight had broken 2 days earlier when he backed into a parking barrier. He'd ordered a replacement part online and was planning to install it over the weekend. A minor violation. A fix-it ticket at most. I'm sorry, officer. I didn't realize. I'll get it fixed immediately. Step out of the vehicle. William's anxiety spiked. Step out for a taillight? That wasn't standard procedure. Something was wrong. Sir, is there a problem? I said step out of the vehicle. Now! The body cam footage shows William complying. Slowly, carefully, he unbuckles his seatbelt, opens the door, and steps out. His hands are visible at all times. His movements are deliberate and non-threatening. Officer Bauer's partner, Officer J. Martinez, had arrived as backup, standard procedure for traffic stops after dark. Martinez positioned himself on the passenger side of the vehicle, his body cam also recording. Turn around. Hands on the vehicle. William turned and placed his hands flat on the roof of his Honda. Officer, can you tell me what this is about? I'm happy to cooperate, but I don't understand. You don't need to understand. You need to comply. Bowers began patting William down. The body cam shows his hands moving aggressively, roughly searching William's pockets, waistband, ankles. Sir, is there a reason you're searching me? I haven't committed any crime other than a broken taillight. I'm conducting a lawful search for officer safety. But I haven't done anything. Stop talking. Hands on the vehicle. William's questions were reasonable. His compliance was complete. But Officer Bowers was treating a broken taillight like a felony stop, and it was about to get much worse. The pat-down revealed nothing. No weapons. No drugs. No contraband. Just a wallet, keys, and a cell phone. Exactly what you'd expect from a college student driving home from work. But Officer Bowers wasn't done. I'm going to search your vehicle. Do I have a right to refuse? Wrong question. The body cam footage shows Bowers' entire demeanor change. His jaw tightens. His hand moves toward his weapon. You refusing? No, sir. I'm asking if I have the right to refuse. I'm studying criminal justice, and I know. Get in the car. Sit down. Bowers pushed William back toward the driver's seat. Not gently. A hard shove that made William stumble. Sir, I'm complying. There's no need to. Sit. Down. William sat in the driver's seat, his legs still outside the vehicle, hands visible on his lap. The body cam angle from Bowers' chest shows William clearly. Sitting. Calm. Not threatening. Not resisting. Officer Martinez's body cam from the other side of the vehicle shows the same thing. William sitting in his car, hands visible, not moving aggressively. Give me your hands, Bowers ordered. My hands are right here, sir. What do you need? Give me your hands. Behind your back. William started to move his hands behind his back to comply with what sounded like a command to be handcuffed. But the movement was slow because he was confused about why he was being detained. That's when Officer Bowers punched him. The body cam footage captures it clearly. Bowers' right fist comes up and connects with William's left cheek. A closed fist punch to the face. William's head snaps to the side from the impact. He cries out in pain and shock. Stop resisting. But William wasn't resisting. Both body cams prove it. He was sitting in his car, moving slowly to comply with commands, when he was punched in the face. And those two words, stop resisting, will become Bowers' justification for everything that followed. After punching William, Officer Bowers grabbed him by the collar and yanked him out of the vehicle. William, stunned from the punch, stumbled forward. Stop resisting arrest. I'm not resisting. You just punch me. Bowers forced William face down onto the pavement of the parking lot. His partner, Officer Martinez, helped restrain William's arms, pulling him behind his back. Stop resisting or you'll be tossed. The body cam footage is crystal clear. William is not resisting. His body is going limp from shock and compliance, not fighting back. His voice is panicked, but he's not physically struggling. I'm not resisting. Please, I'm not resisting. What did I do? Bowers put his knee on Williams' back, pressing down hard. Handcuffs clicked around Williams' wrists, tightened so hard they cut into his skin. You're under arrest for resisting arrest. The circular logic was absurd. Arrested for resisting arrest when he never resisted in the first place. But it's a common tactic. If an officer uses force, justify it retroactively by charging the victim with resisting. By now, people in the shopping center had noticed. Several witnesses stood in the parking lot, about 20 feet away. Phones out, recording. They'd seen the punch. They'd heard Williams' protests. They watched two officers force a compliant man to the ground. One witness, later identified as Marcus Johnson, shouted, "He wasn't resisting. Why did you hit him? That's excessive force." Officer Bowers stood up and turned toward the witnesses. "Back up. This is a police matter. We're recording this. We saw everything. If you don't back up, you'll be arrested for interfering." The witnesses didn't leave, but they stepped back. Their phones kept recording. Within 24 hours, those cell phone videos would be uploaded to social media. Within 48 hours, the Bodycam footage would be released. And within a week, the entire nation would be watching. William Jr. was transported to Duval County Jail. His left cheek was already swelling from the punch. His wrists had marks from the handcuffs being tightened too hard. His back hurt from being forced onto the pavement. He was booked on charges of resisting arrest without violence, failure to comply with lawful order, no charge of the broken taillight that started the stop, just charges designed to justify the force used against him. Williams' bail was set at $500. His roommate posted it that night. By 11 p.m., William was home, traumatized, confused, and angry. He immediately called his parents in Atlanta. His father, William Sr., a mechanical engineer, and his mother, Patricia, a high school teacher, were horrified. "You were punched? For a taillight? I don't even know what happened, Dad. I was complying with everything. I never resisted. He just punched me. We're getting you a lawyer, the best lawyer we can afford." But they wouldn't have to afford one, because by the next morning, William's story had exploded on social media. Marcus Johnson, the witness who recorded the incident, posted his video to Twitter at 10:30 p.m. Friday night with the caption, "Jacksonville cop punches college student in the face during traffic stop for broken taillight. The student was complying the whole time. This is police brutality. Hashtag justice for William." The video went viral overnight. 500,000 views by Saturday morning. 1 million by Saturday afternoon. 3 million by Sunday. Comments flooded in. "This is exactly why black people are terrified of police." He was sitting in his car with his hands visible and got punched in the face. Arrested for resisting arrest when he never resisted. The system is broken. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office couldn't ignore this, but their response would prove they were more interested in protecting their officer than delivering justice. February 17th, 2025, 2 days after the incident, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office issued a public statement. JSO is aware of a video circulating on social media involving a traffic stop on February 15th, 2025. The incident is under review by our Professional Standards Division. We take all allegations of misconduct seriously and will conduct a thorough investigation. The officer involved has been placed on administrative duty, pending the outcome of the investigation. Administrative duty, not suspended, not fired, just moved to desk work while the investigation proceeded. The statement continued. We ask the public to refrain from rushing to judgment based on partial video footage. The incident will be reviewed in its entirety, including body camera footage from multiple angles, witness statements, and officer reports. Translation: don't believe what you saw on video. Trust us to investigate ourselves. The Jacksonville NAACP immediately responded with their own statement. We have reviewed the available footage of William Jr.'s traffic stop and arrest. The video clearly shows excessive force used against a compliant young man who posed no threat. Officer Bowers punched Mr. McNeil in the face without justification. This is unacceptable. We demand Officer Bowers' immediate termination and criminal prosecution. Protests began that Sunday. About 200 people gathered outside Jacksonville Sheriff's Office headquarters holding signs. Justice for William and police brutality. Fire Officer Bowers. Local news covered the protests. National news picked up the story. William Jr.'s face, swollen and bruised from the punch, appeared on screens across America. And that's when Ben Crump got involved. Benjamin Crump is one of America's most famous civil rights attorneys. He represented the families of Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd. When Crump takes a case, the world pays attention. On February 19, 2025, Crump announced he would represent William Jr. I reviewed the body camera footage and witness video from William's traffic stop. Crump said at a press conference, William standing beside him, the bruise on his face still visible. What I saw was a young man pulled over for a minor equipment violation who was assaulted by a police officer for no reason. William was compliant. He was respectful. He posed no threat. And he was punched in the face. This is exactly the kind of excessive force that destroys trust between communities and police. This is why black parents have to teach their children how to survive traffic stops. And this is why we're filing a federal civil rights lawsuit against Officer Bowers in the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. William spoke briefly, his voice emotional but controlled. I'm studying criminal justice because I believe in the law. I believe in justice. I thought if I did everything right, kept my hands visible, was respectful, complied with commands, I'd be safe. I was wrong. I did everything right, and I still got punched in the face. No one should have to experience what I experienced. The press conference was covered nationally. The lawsuit would seek damages for excessive force, false arrest, violation of Fourth Amendment rights, emotional distress, battery. But more importantly, Crump announced they were requesting a Department of Justice investigation into the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office's patterns and practices. The pressure was mounting. Surely now, with national attention, with Ben Crump involved, with DOJ scrutiny coming, Officer Bowers would face consequences. But the system had other plans. Jacksonville Sheriff's Office Professional Standards Division began its investigation. They reviewed Officer Bowers' body camera footage, Officer Martinez's body camera footage, cell phone videos from witnesses, Officer Bowers' written report, Officer Martinez's witness statement, William Jr.'s statement. The evidence was overwhelming. Every video angle showed the same thing. William complying, Bowers punching him, William being forced to ground while not resisting. But internal investigations aren't about truth. They're about justification. Officer Bowers' written report told a very different story than the videos. Subject McNeil became agitated during the traffic stop. When instructed to remain in his vehicle, subject made sudden movements consistent with reaching for a weapon. I observed subject's hands moving toward his waistband. Fearing for my safety, I delivered a controlled strike to gain compliance. Subject then attempted to pull away and resist handcuffing, necessitating a takedown to the ground. Subject continued to resist until restrained. None of this was true. The body cam proved it. But Bowers' report created a narrative. The officer feared for his safety, used reasonable force, and defended himself against a resistant suspect. Officer Martinez's statement supported Bowers. I observed the subject making suspicious movements. Officer Bowers acted appropriately to maintain control of the situation. The Professional Standards Division interviewed witnesses. Marcus Johnson and two others who recorded the incident gave statements. The student wasn't resisting. He was sitting in his car with his hands visible when the officer punched him. I didn't see any sudden movements. The cop just hit him for no reason. But witness statements contradicting police reports are routinely dismissed as biased or incomplete perspective. After 6 weeks of investigation, Professional Standards delivered their findings, and what they concluded would enrage everyone who'd watched the videos. March 28, 2025. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office released the results of their internal investigation. After thorough review of all evidence, including body camera footage, witness statements, and officer reports, professional standards has determined that Officer Bauer's use of force was within departmental policy. The strike delivered to the subject was a controlled technique designed to gain compliance when the subject demonstrated suspicious movements during a lawful traffic stop. The subsequent takedown was necessary to effect arrest after the subject resisted handcuffing. Finding not sustained. No policy violation occurred. Additionally, Officer Bowers will receive a written reprimand for failure to de-escalate the situation prior to using force and will undergo additional training in community policing techniques. A written reprimand. Additional training. That was it. No suspension. No demotion. No termination. No criminal referral. Officer Bowers punched a compliant college student in the face on camera, and the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office determined he did nothing wrong. The public reaction was immediate and furious. Social media exploded. They watched the same videos we did and said he did nothing wrong. A written reprimand for punching someone in the face. This is why people don't trust police. The body cam showed everything and they still protected him. The system is designed to protect cops, not hold them accountable. Ben Crump held another press conference. This finding is outrageous but not surprising. Police departments cannot be trusted to police themselves. This is exactly why we need independent oversight, why we need federal intervention, and why we're proceeding with our lawsuit. William McNeil was assaulted on camera by a police officer. That's a crime. And if the sheriff's office won't hold Officer Bowers accountable, we'll ensure a federal court does. But there was still one more avenue for accountability. The state attorney's office could file criminal charges. Surely prosecutors, independent from the police, would do what the sheriff's office wouldn't. They didn't. April 3rd, 2025. State Attorney Melissa Nelson's office announced their decision regarding potential criminal charges against Officer Bowers. After careful review of the evidence, including body camera footage and witness statements, this office has determined there is insufficient evidence to pursue criminal charges against Officer Bowers. While the use of force was unfortunate, it does not meet the legal standard for criminal assault or battery. Officers are authorized to use reasonable force to effect arrests and ensure their safety. Based on Officer Bowers' perception of threat at the time, his actions were legally justified. No charges, not even a misdemeanor battery charge. The state attorney's reasoning. Florida law requires proof beyond reasonable doubt that the officer's use of force was not legally justified. Officer Bowers stated he perceived suspicious movements and acted to protect himself. While video footage is available, it does not capture the officer's subjective perception of threat. Without clear evidence that the officer's fear was objectively unreasonable, criminal prosecution cannot proceed. This is the legal loophole that protects police. Subjective perception of threat. Even when video shows a compliant person, if the officer claims they felt threatened, the force is justified. It didn't matter that William was sitting in his car, hands visible, not moving aggressively. It only mattered that Officer Bowers claimed he felt threatened. The decision not to prosecute meant Officer Bowers would never face a jury. No criminal trial would examine his conduct. No criminal record for assaulting a civilian. No jail time, no probation, no consequences. Ben Crump's response. This decision is a betrayal of justice. The state attorney's office has chosen to protect a police officer who committed assault on camera rather than protect the citizen he victimized. This is exactly why communities of color don't trust the criminal justice system. We see with our own eyes what happened. William was assaulted, but the system looks at that same evidence and says, no crime occurred. It's unconscionable. With criminal charges off the table, only the civil lawsuit remained. That case would take years. And meanwhile, Officer Bowers returned to active duty. April 15th, 2025. Officer Bowers returned to active patrol duty. The internal investigation cleared him. The state attorney declined prosecution. His written reprimand was filed. His additional training was completed, a 4-hour online course on de-escalation techniques. He was back on the streets, making traffic stops, armed with gun and badge, empowered to detain and arrest people. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office issued a brief statement. Officer Bowers has completed all required corrective actions and is returning to full duty. We are confident in his ability to serve the community professionally and within departmental guidelines. Community activists were outraged. Protests resumed. But protests don't remove officers from duty. William Jr., meanwhile, was dealing with the trauma of the assault and the frustration of watching his attacker face no consequences. He developed anxiety around police. When he saw a patrol car, his heart raced. He avoided driving at night. He took longer routes to avoid areas with heavy police presence. He was in therapy for PTSD. His grades at Jacksonville University had slipped. He was struggling to focus on his studies, especially his criminal justice courses, which now felt like cruel irony. "I want to be a criminal defense attorney to help people," William told a reporter. "Now, I don't know if I believe in the system anymore. How can I participate in a system that punches innocent people in the face and calls it justified?" His family was struggling too. His parents had spent thousands on therapy, legal consultations, and traveled to Jacksonville for court proceedings. His mother had taken time off work. His father was dealing with rage and helplessness, watching his son be victimized with no recourse. And Officer Bowers? He went back to work like nothing happened. Investigative journalists started digging into Officer Bowers' history. What they found was disturbing. Bowers, 35, had been with Jacksonville Sheriff's Office for 8 years. During that time, he'd received 7 complaints of excessive force, all involving Black or Hispanic suspects. 2019, suspect claimed Bowers slammed his head against patrol car during arrest. Complaint dismissed. Subject was combative, force justified. 2020, woman claimed Bowers twisted her arm during handcuffing, causing injury. Complaint dismissed. Standard restraint techniques. 2021, teen claimed Bowers kicked him while he was on the ground. Complaint dismissed. Subject was resisting arrest. 2022, man claimed Bowers choked him during pat-down. Complaint dismissed. Officer used approved control technique. 2023, 2 separate complaints of excessive force during traffic stops. Both dismissed. Subject's accounts contradicted by officer testimony. 2025, William Jr. punched in the face. Cleared. Use of force within policy. For complaints of racial profiling. All involved traffic stops of Black drivers in predominantly white neighborhoods. All dismissed as lawful stops based on observed violations. 3 complaints of unprofessional conduct. Rude behavior, inappropriate language, aggressive demeanor. All resulted in verbal counseling, no formal discipline. The pattern was clear. Officer Bowers had a history of using excessive force, primarily against people of color, and the department had protected him every single time. 11 complaints over 8 years. 0 sustained. 0 meaningful discipline. No suspensions, no demotions, no terminations. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office had enabled Officer Bowers to continue a pattern of abuse by dismissing every complaint, giving him the benefit of the doubt every time, and never holding him accountable. William McNeil wasn't Bowers' first victim. He was just the first one whose assault was captured so clearly on video that it couldn't be easily dismissed. But even clear video evidence wasn't enough to stop Officer Bowers from continuing patrol, to make arrests, to use force. Because the system is designed to protect officers, not victims. Ben Crump filed a federal civil rights lawsuit in U.S. District Court for the Middle District of Florida on March 1st, 2025. William Jr. v. Officer Bowers in Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. The lawsuit alleged excessive force in violation of the Fourth Amendment, false arrest and false imprisonment, battery and assault, intentional infliction of emotional distress, municipal liability for failure to train and supervise Officer Bowers, pattern and practice of tolerating excessive force. The lawsuit sought compensatory damages for medical bills, therapy costs, lost wages, pain and suffering, punitive damages to punish Officer Bowers and deter future misconduct, attorney's fees, policy reforms including independent oversight of use of force incidents. Discovery began. Ben Crump's team subpoenaed all complaints against Officer Bowers, his personnel file and performance evaluations, use of force reports from his entire career, JSO's training materials on de-escalation and use of force, JSO's internal policies on investigating complaints. What they uncovered was damning. Not just Bowers' pattern of excessive force complaints, but the department's pattern of dismissing them. Internal emails showed supervisors routinely dismissing complaints as unfounded without thorough investigation. Performance evaluations praised Bowers as proactive and assertive in making arrests, qualities that in practice meant aggressive and violent. The lawsuit also revealed JSO had paid out over $3 million in excessive force settlements in the past 5 years, yet made no significant policy changes or officer discipline. The civil case was building toward trial, but trials take years. And meanwhile, Officer Bowers continued working. Congressman Al Lawson, representing Florida's 5th District, which includes Jacksonville, formally requested a Department of Justice investigation into the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office in April 2025. The request letter cited William Jr.'s case, Officer Bowers' pattern of complaints, JSO's pattern of dismissing excessive force complaints, racial disparities in use of force. Black residents were 3x more likely to experience force during arrest despite representing only 30% of the population, lack of independent oversight. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office has demonstrated an inability or unwillingness to hold its officers accountable for excessive force, Congressman Lawson wrote. When video evidence shows a police officer punching a compliant college student in the face, and that officer faces no criminal charges and returns to duty within weeks, the system has failed. Federal intervention is necessary. The DOJ Civil Rights Division acknowledged receipt of the request and announced a preliminary review. But DOJ investigations take months or years. Pattern and practice investigations require extensive evidence gathering, interviews, data analysis. Even if the DOJ eventually found JSO violated civil rights, reforms would come too late for William McNeil, and there was no guarantee the DOJ would investigate at all. The request was just that, a request. The DOJ had limited resources and many cities to potentially investigate. William was learning a painful lesson. Justice delayed is justice denied, and the system specializes in delay. July 2025. Officer Bowers was deposed as part of the civil lawsuit. Under oath, he was questioned by Ben Crump's legal team about the night he punched William McNeil. The deposition transcript reveals Bowers' attempt to justify the unjustifiable. Attorney: Officer Bowers, why did you punch Mr. McNeil in the face? Bowers: I delivered a controlled strike to gain compliance after the subject made threatening movements. Attorney: What threatening movements? Bowers: His hands moved suddenly toward his waistband. Attorney: The body camera footage shows his hands were visible on his lap the entire time. Can you point to the timestamp where his hands moved toward his waistband? Bowers: The body camera doesn't capture every angle. From my position, I perceive the movement as threatening. Attorney: You testified you delivered a controlled strike. Where in your training are you taught to punch people in the face as a control technique? Bowers: We're trained in various strike techniques to gain compliance when subjects resist. Attorney: Mr. McNeil wasn't resisting. The body camera shows him sitting in his car, hands visible, not fighting back. Bowers: He was verbally confrontational. That's a form of resistance. Attorney: So asking questions is resistance? Bowers: Questioning lawful police orders can be an indicator of noncompliance. Attorney: Did Mr. McNeil ever physically strike you, push you, or attempt to harm you in any way? Bowers: No, but I perceived potential for violence based on his behavior. Attorney: You have 7 prior complaints of excessive force. Were you aware of that pattern? Bowers' attorney: Objection. Those complaints are not relevant and were all dismissed. Attorney: They're relevant to establish a pattern of behavior. Officer Bowers: Were you aware you had multiple excessive force complaints? Bowers: I'm aware some people have filed complaints. All were investigated and found to be without merit. Attorney: Do you believe you used excessive force on Mr. McNeil? Bowers: No. I used appropriate force for the situation. Attorney: Appropriate force includes punching a compliant person in the face? Bowers: He wasn't compliant. He was verbally resistant and made threatening movements. The deposition went on for 6 hours. Officer Bowers never admitted wrongdoing, never showed remorse, never acknowledged that punching William was excessive. He stuck to his narrative. William was threatening. Force was necessary. Everything was justified. September 2025. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office and their insurance carrier made a settlement offer to avoid trial. $150,000 to William Jr. The offer included payment in exchange for dropping the lawsuit, no admission of wrongdoing by Officer Bowers or JSO, non-disclosure agreement preventing William from discussing the settlement, no requirement for policy changes or reforms. Ben Crump advised William that the offer was insulting. Your case is worth far more. You were assaulted on camera by a police officer who faced no consequences. A jury would likely award significantly more. But settlements aren't just about money. They're about certainty versus risk. If William rejected the settlement and went to trial wouldn't happen for at least another year. Juries often side with police, especially in Florida. Even if William won, the city could appeal, dragging the case out for years. The emotional toll of trial, reliving the trauma, being cross-examined, facing Officer Bowers, would be immense. If William accepted the settlement, he'd get $150,000 minus attorney fees and costs, probably $90,000 net. The case would end. He could move forward with his life. But Officer Bowers would face no consequences. JSO would make no reforms. The NDA would prevent William from speaking publicly. It was a classic settlement dilemma. Take certain money but no justice, or fight for justice but risk getting nothing. William struggled with the decision. Part of him wanted to fight, to force Officer Bowers to face a jury, to expose JSO's pattern of protecting abusive officers. But another part of him was exhausted. The case had dominated his life for 7 months. He'd been to countless depositions, meetings, and court proceedings. His mental health was suffering. His academics were suffering. He just wanted it to be over. After agonizing deliberation, William made his choice. And that choice would define whether his case brought any accountability at all. October 2025. William Jr. rejected the settlement offer. I'm not taking their money with a gag order attached, William told Ben Crump. Officer Bowers punched me in the face on camera and faced zero consequences. If I take this settlement and sign an NDA, my story ends. He keeps being a cop. JSO keeps protecting abusive officers. Nothing changes. I want this to go to trial. I want a jury to see the Bodycam footage. I want Officer Bowers to have to sit in a courtroom and defend punching me. I want JSO's pattern of dismissing complaints exposed in open court. Even if I lose, even if the jury sides with the police, at least I fought. At least I didn't let them buy my silence. Ben Crump smiled. That's what I was hoping you'd say. The decision to go to trial was risky, but principled. William wasn't just seeking compensation for himself. He was fighting for accountability in a system designed to avoid it. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office responded by increasing their settlement offer to $250,000. William rejected it. They increased again to $400,000. William rejected it. The message was clear. JSO wanted to avoid trial at all costs. They knew what a trial would expose. Officer Bowers' pattern of complaints, JSO's pattern of dismissing them, the systemic failure to hold officers accountable. But William wasn't negotiating. He wanted his day in court. The trial was scheduled for March 2026. And what happened in that courtroom would determine whether Bodycam evidence of police brutality could actually bring justice, or whether the system would protect Officer Bowers one final time. March 2026. U.S. District Court, Middle District of Florida. William Jr. v. Officer Bowers in Jacksonville Sheriff's Office went to trial. The courtroom was packed. Media, civil rights activists, community members, and William's family filled every seat. Officer Bowers sat at the defense table in full uniform, his face impassive. Ben Crump delivered the opening statement. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to watch a video. In this video, you'll see a 24-year-old college student pulled over for a broken taillight. You'll see him comply with every command. You'll see his hands visible at all times. And you'll see a police officer punch him in the face for no reason. Not because William was violent. Not because William was threatening. But because Officer Bowers chose violence when patience was required. This case is about accountability. Officer Bowers punched William McNeil on camera. The sheriff's office investigated and said he did nothing wrong. The state attorney declined to prosecute. Officer Bowers returned to work within weeks. No consequences. No justice. That's why we're here, to ask you, the jury, to deliver the accountability the system refused to provide. The defense attorney, representing both Bowers and JSO, countered. Officer Bowers is a dedicated law enforcement professional who responded to a traffic stop that escalated quickly. He perceived suspicious movements from Mr. McNeil and acted to protect himself. Police officers make split-second decisions in dangerous situations. We ask you to judge Officer Bowers' actions from his perspective in that moment, not from the comfort of hindsight. The trial lasted 2 weeks. Ben Crump's team presented. The Bodycam footage, played multiple times from multiple angles. Cell phone videos from witnesses. Expert testimony from a use-of-force specialist who testified the punch was excessive and unnecessary. Williams' testimony about the stop, the assault, and the trauma that followed. Evidence of Officer Bowers' 7 prior excessive force complaints. The defense presented. Officer Bowers' testimony that he feared for his safety. Officer Martinez's testimony supporting Bowers. An expert witness who testified that the punch was a reasonable control technique. Character witnesses describing Bowers as a good officer. The jury watched the Bodycam footage at least a dozen times during trial. Each time, it showed the same thing. William sitting in his car, hands visible, then being punched in the face. After 2 weeks of testimony, the case went to the jury, and their verdict would determine whether video evidence could overcome the system's instinct to protect police. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. When they returned, the courtroom went silent. On the claim of excessive force in violation of the Fourth Amendment, how do you find? We find in favor of the plaintiff, William Jr. William exhaled. His mother cried. Ben Crump squeezed his shoulder. The jury had watched the Bodycam footage and rejected Officer Bowers' claim that the punch was justified. They'd seen through the lies and delivered a verdict. Officer Bowers used excessive force. On the question of damages, what amount do you award? We award compensatory damages in the amount of $850,000 for medical expenses, emotional distress, and pain and suffering. We award punitive damages against Officer Bowers in the amount of $500,000 to punish this conduct and deter future misconduct. $1.35 million. A significant verdict. A jury statement that what happened to William was wrong and Officer Bowers should pay for it. But here's the reality of civil verdicts against police. Officer Bowers personally paid nothing. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office's insurance covered the entire amount. Bowers' personal finances were never touched. He faced no financial consequences. Officer Bowers was never criminally charged. The civil verdict found he used excessive force, but it wasn't a criminal conviction. He has no criminal record, no jail time, no probation. Officer Bowers kept his job. Despite a jury finding he violated Williams' constitutional rights, despite a $1.35 million verdict against him, Officer Bowers remains employed by the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office as of the trial's conclusion in March 2026. He's still on patrol, still armed, still making arrests. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office made no policy changes, no reforms to complaint investigations, no independent oversight, no changes to use of force training. The verdict didn't force systemic change. William Jr. got money, but not justice. He received $850,000 before attorney fees, which helped pay for therapy and compensated him for trauma. But the officer who assaulted him faced no real consequences. The system that protected Bowers remained unchanged. This is a reality of police accountability in America in 2026. Body cameras captured Officer Bowers punching William Jr. in the face during a traffic stop for a broken taillight. The footage was viewed by millions. It showed clear, undeniable excessive force against a compliant person. And Officer Bowers was cleared by internal investigation, faced no criminal charges, returned to duty, continues working as a police officer. A jury found Bowers violated William's civil rights, but that verdict didn't end Bowers' career, didn't result in criminal consequences, didn't reform the department that protected him. William Jr. sued for accountability and got a cash payment. Officer Bowers paid nothing personally and kept his badge. The body camera showed the truth, but the truth wasn't enough. This is what accountability looks like in American policing. Video evidence of brutality, followed by investigations that clear the officer, prosecutors who decline charges, departments that protect their own, and civil verdicts paid by insurance that don't touch the officer personally. Officer Bowers is still patrolling Jacksonville, still pulling over drivers, still armed with the authority to detain, arrest, and use force. And William Jr. lives with the knowledge that he did everything right, complied, stayed calm, didn't resist, and still got punched in the face, and that the officer who did it faced no real consequences. The body cam caught the crime. The system protected the criminal. That's not a failure of the system. That's the system working exactly as designed. As of 2026, Officer Bowers remains employed by the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. William Jr. graduated from Jacksonville University, but decided not to pursue a career in criminal justice. He no longer believes in the system he once wanted to serve. The body cam showed everything. It changed nothing.